Hi, this is Abby. Loneliness. Today we are going to talk about a very important topic which is honestly touching all of us. I've been through it and I'm sure so many others have been through loneliness. And what's the difference, the true difference between loneliness and aloneness? Why is that some people are absolutely and perfectly happy while being alone, while others suffering, going through pain maybe, just by being lonely, although they might be surrounded by others around them, like friends or something. What's the symptoms of loneliness? All of these things we will discuss with my beautiful guests here. And the very first one, I'll start with Dr. Farah. Hi, Doctor.
Hi, Abby. How are you?
I'm good. Nice to see you again.
Same here. Always a pleasure to be here.
Absolutely. Elise?
Morning.
Hello.
Hi, everyone. Hello.
How are you, Elise?
I'm wonderful, thanks.
Well, thank you for being here.
Yeah, thank you as well.
And I have our beautiful psychologist here, Tricia. Hi, Tricia.
Hi, Abby. Hi, everybody. Hello, everyone. Lovely to be here.
How are you, Tricia?
Very well, thank you.
Good. Tricia, since we're speaking about loneliness, what do you think loneliness, how loneliness actually impacting our life?
It's a very good topic and question, actually, Abby, because I think that loneliness is really a very major part of life, and it can be very detrimental. And as we see in the aging population, those who spend a lot of time on their own without their family around them literally have no one to talk to during the day. Excuse me, elderly people can be going for days and days without actually having anyone to talk to.
Yeah.
And we can understand a little bit more empathetically when we're listening to those kinds of stories, because it's so obvious.
True.
And yet, even in the younger population, we have many people who live on their own and who don't have that social connection all the time.
It's a growing out there. No doubt, loneliness is a growing out there.
More and more
isn't it?
people working from home as well.
Exactly, the working from home factor, and we also have the online thing,
Right.
you know, where many people are relying so heavily on that external connection through their screens that they're not going out as much. They don't have as much energy because it takes energy to be on a screen all day long. So, and as you very well mentioned, I think you can feel very lonely in a public area. And I know I have felt like that because my mind has taken me away from where I am. It's disconnecting me with what I'm actually doing and who I'm actually with. And the gratitude of that moment, funnily enough, it's almost like I take all of this for granted and I'm somewhere else that doesn't actually relate to this reality, this moment in reality.
Very true.
So I can feel really quite lonely. I have personally 2 grown-up children, and I'm very happy to know that they're busy and they have their lives. But if I spend too much time in their world, mentally in their business, I will feel lonely. I will feel like I miss them, that I'm missing out. And then the movies will start. Look what I'm missing out on.
Wow.
I have no clue if they're doing that. But it will feel like I'm missing out. My mind will convince me that this isn't good enough and I should be doing that.
Which is painful.
Very painful,
Right.
very painful. So what does that mean? The impact means I become clingy, I become needy. I message them, did you get home? Are you okay? Do you need anything? What was the day like? Can you ring me when you get home? Can we speak on the weekend? When are you available? And they're thinking, oh, Mum, back off. But
Give me a break.
It's purely because I'm feeling that cut off, which is an imaginary state of mind, actually. I can't ever be cut off. They live in my heart. They live in me. And yet I'm looking at them through a lens of not having them, not being with them.
And that's an important aspect, I think, to that not, what that really represents is disconnect.
I was going to say
yes.
that too.
Yes.
Completely.
Yeah, so it's I think that's where it stems from, and it's right now I think loneliness is everywhere, all age groups, at all levels, because we have lost that ability to connect with humans at a human level.
See, that's a statement. I'm a strong advocate for it, which I believe in.
Yeah,
unfortunately, especially during the pandemic, they call it, during Corona, it has grown, isn't it?
Exactly,
Yes.
and the pandemic, I think, just shot everybody into reality sooner than later.
Yes.
So I think it actually did something good rather than what happened, because we got to a state but we're out of it now. So now we have knowledge. We have what we're technically in the future. You know what I mean? We're technically in the future, but we still have time to come back, right? And that's where we need to be, right? To re-establish real connections with our real space, with our real people,
and with ourselves,
exactly,
and not taking everything so much for granted.
Yes.
Didn't we all take everything for granted up until COVID came? And then all of a sudden we couldn't fly, we couldn't travel, we couldn't dine together, we couldn't have visitors, we couldn't even go out to shop, we couldn't have social gatherings or go to school, and yet all of that we would complain about.
And
a lot of the time.
We also didn't realize that we couldn't live at home with the people in our house because we lost touch with them.
Exactly.
Right? And that was one of the biggest things we kept hearing during the pandemic. Lots of marriages were broken up during those times because we then realized, we're faced with this person now. How do I connect with somebody I can't connect with? And that's,
we were not used to live together for that long.
Exactly, in that space.
24/7 together for quite a long time.
Well, when we have so many distractions taking us away from the core issue, which is how am I? How am I showing up? Where have I come from? What have I got to deal with still that I'm projecting onto you that I'm no longer able to handle? So I'll give that over to you and then I'll punish you a little bit for it.
That's what I really enjoyed during the pandemic. I was actually on my own. So I learned how to spend time with myself and kind of I became my best friend, my own best friend. And I was like, okay, so what are we going to cook tonight? Sorry, I wasn't talking to myself.
I think you were, Elise. I think you were.
I was talking to my cats.
We can talk later if you like, but it's okay.
No, sorry, I was talking, but I was doing the things that I enjoy, and I was like, this is actually, I'm alone, but I don't feel too lonely. I'm doing things that I enjoy, I'm reconnecting with myself, and if there is that kind of resistance to be spending time with yourself, it could be that maybe there's some part of you that you're not really connecting with. Or
I love that.
Totally.
You need to
I totally agree.
have a look at it and be like, okay, what is this? Why am I really afraid to be by myself?
That's crucial. Exactly.
And why am I, one of the greatest psychiatrists in the UK, Raven, I think his name is, I can't remember exactly his name, but he said we're afraid of three things. Death, other people, and our mind.
Right.
So when we're on our own, most of the time we're trying to soothe this beast that's taking us, as I mentioned before, to other places, to what we don't have, that what we should have, that what is not right for us. And it becomes quite a traumatic experience. So what do? We look to soothe it. And we
put
eat,
the telly
or
on, we put the...
we eat, or we somber into a depression because we're just no longer aware that we are sitting, standing, lying down, able to communicate, have technology, we do have food, we have clean air. The mindfulness actually becomes less and less a part of our lives. And we lose our sense of well-being, our sense of self. And we're telling ourselves that it's because nobody's around us, but even with all of our people around us,
we can still be unhappy.
We can still feel very, I often say to people, how's life? How's things going? Oh, all good. I say, give it a minute. We'll find something to complain about because that's the nature of humans.
Exactly. But I think it's interesting too that when we go along that line of being okay by ourselves, but we have to recognize too, as Abby mentioned before, that people are surrounded by people, but we're not.
And maybe your favorite people as well. But you're still feeling lonely.
And I think for us, we need to understand that impact, because I think that could even be more daunting for someone, knowing that I have all these people around me, but I'm not feeling that sense of connection.
Is it a connection? I was just sorry.
Yeah, it's a connection, and I think it's a sense of feeling that that somebody understands me.
Right. Would a person feel like I'm a stranger in this group?
Exactly.
Because nobody maybe understands my ideas, my beliefs. I'm not talking about your faith, but some beliefs about the world. Something like that.
It has a separation effect. So I'm all of a sudden cut off from the masses.
Right.
And this is ego's game. This is how it exists, by saying, you don't belong there. I'm going to keep you safe.
Wow.
But it's actually not keeping me safe. Fear and that that concern around who I am and whether they're going to accept me or whether I can fit in actually stops me from living. It doesn't keep me safe.
That's interesting. For me, I could relate on that level, but not completely at that level, because I've always felt like that. I've always felt that people didn't understand me, and even my close friends know. Farah is talking.
We understand you.
Yeah, now, right? But pre-pandemic, I could not find people who actually got me. And I have my best friend at home. She knows whenever I give her a piece of advice or whatever, I tell her, I say, don't worry, in 10 years you'll realize I was right. Right? Because it takes that long for people to understand what I'm saying. So I felt like that in my teen years, my early 20s, where people did not understand me a lot, and I felt that sense of disconnection, but it wasn't out of fear or ego. It was just my reality that people did not understand me.
But then you found your tribe.
And it took me years later, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Which is great.
Yeah, which is great. Yeah.
What if we can summarize it? As Tricia said, disconnecting from the moment can lead you to feel lonely when you think of others, what they're doing, what they are eating, what they might be. And exactly what you said as well, and you've been through it, and you know how it feels. Question: if you put it in one sentence, what do you think a person should do during a feeling of loneliness?
If I have to think back of how I handle it, and now with a little more wisdom, right? I would like to believe. I would say it's about more self-acceptance.
So you accept it first.
Yeah, accept. I think get to know yourself first.
I like it.
Yeah, I've gotten over that sense of loneliness because I've accepted that I am not like everyone else. My thinking is not like everyone else.
Right.
It doesn't mean that they don't love me or they don't, care for me in the way that I need. But it's just that we are different people, and everybody's different.
So you just be thinking differently, and that's why you're different.
Exactly. So I know the source now. The source is just because my concepts and my thinking is different to everyone else.
So accepting is the first thing you would do.
Exactly.
Wow, that's
accepting.
a nice one.
Yeah, just accept that. Okay, I am different.
Yeah,
it doesn't mean that I'm lonely, but
shake hands with the moment.
Yeah, and there's so many other ways though that I could actually I have in common with everybody else.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Other things.
Yeah, there's so many other things.
For
So why focus on the one thing
That's
that okay, yes, maybe I'm not deeply understood, but do I need to be deeply understood by other people? You know what I mean?
Deeply, maybe not.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
I don't really need that deep connection.
The big question is, can I understand myself first?
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, I think you're right, Abby.
That's crucial, actually.
Exactly.
Elise, what would you say if you give a solution if somebody's feeling lonely?
I would say go and look kind of inwards.
Inwards.
Be with yourself and spend time with yourself. Get to know yourself. We always come back to it.
It's what you did in the I see.
We always come back to it. Who am I?
So accept yourself, accept the loneliness feeling, reconnect with yourself.
Reconnect.
Absolutely. Tricia, what solution do you think you have for our audience if somebody's really feeling lonely?
I think that the quick fix is to reach out to someone, anyone, make a phone call to someone, have a discussion with someone, maybe even knock on the door of a neighbour's and say, hi, how are you? Maybe we know each other, maybe we don't. Hi, I'm just next door. If you need anything, I'm here. Make a connection somewhere. That's what I would do in the immediate moment, rather than let that, churn away. Because when we think, I'm feeling lonely, when we literally say I'm feeling lonely, then we get feelings that support that. We get an anxiety, we get a little bit of adrenaline, we get a bit of tightness and restriction, and then from those feelings we act. So we think, we feel, we act, and we get. So those actions, what are they doing? They're withdrawing me even more. They're making me feel smaller and more recluse. So then I get exactly what I don't want. So sometimes I would encourage people to take that leap of faith and make a move outwardly also.
Exactly. And I think when you're making that leap of faith, you have to be sort of kind to yourself, and that maybe the first person you approach really may not have time at that time, but that's okay.
And that's okay. And there are 7 billion in the queue.
Yeah, exactly. And it's to have that concept, because sometimes people we're like, oh, I really get up the courage to do it. I did it, but then it didn't work, and then I'm not doing it again. But we have to have a progressive mindset. Where,
it's a statistics game.
Yeah,
if
it's
I
exactly.
ask 50 people, there'll be one
of
who
them.
says hello back.
Just like looking for a job, right? So you have to send out like 100 CVs to get one call. It's the same way.
Yeah.
Just keep reaching out, right?
And there's always somebody who's also looking for the same thing as you.
Exactly.
Oh, totally. And with social media these days, I
Yeah.
see many women, young women, because I'm in women's groups, reaching out saying, I'm lonely, I've been here for a few years, I can't make any friends.
Exactly.
And then the number of people who say, where are you? Let's have a coffee, let's get together.
Exactly.
And all of a sudden they've built a whole new network.
Right.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Out of
That's
nothing.
true.
Out of nothing.
Wow.
It's amazing.
What
Out of
I
effort.
exactly. What I will do, to be honest, if we can do it quickly here, I call it the exercise of ha. You guys willing to do it?
Yes.
Let's
Right.
go.
So let's start with this. Repeat after me. Ha.
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 No, together, Elise.
All together. Okay.
All together.
Okay.
Right.
Ha.
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 Ha ha.
Ha ha.
Ha ha.
Ha ha ha.
Ha ha.
So that's the very first thing when you feel lonely.
Yes.
We cured it.
We went from 3 to 43.
Exactly.
43 ha.
So you start with something very dear to you. Watch something, or I would repeat actually what everybody here said. Accept, reconnect, and reach out. These advices are very valuable. You should, if you don't want to use all of them, use some of them. But trust me, they are very helpful. And the most important thing, the very most important thing, you are aware that you are going through some lonely feeling. And feelings are temporary, they're not permanent. Make sure your overall emotions are full of love, peace and joy. It might sound easy, it's very hard, but if you work right, trust me, somehow, somewhere, you are going to conquer that in your life. Now, having said that, there is a difference between loneliness and aloneness. You might be physically alone, but enjoying every second of it. You might be dancing, or you might be surrounded by people and feeling absolutely awful. In both, you should be enjoying. Anyway, write to us if you felt lonely and how did it feel, and write to us if you have some solutions. Remember to subscribe, share, and click that like button. And remember the exercise of
Ha.
ha. Bye-bye now.